The items featured on the show were inherited from the guest's uncle, who was an archaeologist. The first item is a throwing stick used to hunt birds or small animals. After being thrown, it would be retrieved. Furthermore, the second is a fighting club used in close combat and occasionally thrown as well. The third is a spear thrower, also known as an atlatl. It has a counterweight at the end, commonly called Kadar shoes. Kadar shoes are made from emu feathers, some blood, and netting, and are worn by ritual executioners in Aboriginal society.
These are commonly called Kadaicha shoes, known by the Aboriginals as interlinear shoes. And Kadaicha shoes are made of emu feathers.
All of these items are likely from the late 19th or early 20th century. The first item is relatively common, but has become increasingly collectible, with a retail price of...
A retail price for these would be around about $400.
Additionally, the second item, beautifully decorated, would be valued significantly at...
With all the decoration, I think probably $1,000 to $1,500.
Unfortunately, the spear thrower is broken, with only one side intact, so it would be worth.
But really a nice example, and I think probably $400 to $600.
While the Kadar shoes would be valued at...
The Kadaicha shoes, I think probably about $1,500.
Oh, wow.
Showcased on the show is a painting created in 1953 by John Kenneth Ralston. Ralston was an American artist known for his highly detailed and realistic depictions of the American West, particularly its Native American and frontier subjects. The guest inherited this painting from her grandfather, who was a neighbor of the artist.
He was also a neighbor of Charlie Russell. When my grandfather died at a fairly early age, my grandmother requested that Kenny, as they called him, would paint a picture of my grandfather, which he did.
The painting features a striking depiction of the guest's grandfather, seated majestically on a horse. In the background, many horses and riders can be seen on a mountain trail. In the lower right corner of the painting, the artist's signature is visible, further authenticating the piece. What makes this painting even more valuable is the fact that it still possesses its original frame. An insurance value for this vibrant painting by Ralston would be...
I would think if you're an insurance, I'd probably insure it for about $15,000 these days.
$15,000.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's wonderful.
These antique items were inherited by the guest and her husband from the husband's great aunt, who died at 99 years old. They are soup bowls from a China service made for the White House under the administration of Rutherford B. Hayes, who ordered dessert plates for the White House. She commissioned an artist and a reporter for Harper's Weekly named Theodore R. Davis to design a service of China for the White House in collaboration with Haviland and Company in Limoges, France. There's a green mark on the bowl that says H&Co and a red mark that says Haviland, along with some French words that indicate they were designed by Haviland and Company. There's also a signature of Theodore R. Davis, the designer, and a patent date of 1880. Moreover, these bowls were not among those sent to the White House, as the service was sent through a jewelry store, who also ordered pieces like this. But they are expensive. One of these bowls is damaged around the edges, which does affect its value. Hence, the good one would fetch $4,000 to $5,000, while the chipped one would be worth.
It does affect the value, so my estimate for this piece would be less. The good one would bring between $4,000 and $5,000, and the other one between $3,000 and $4,000.
This jersey is a rare relic from one of baseball's greatest legends. The jersey belongs to Ted Williams and encapsulates a key chapter in both the Red Sox and sports history. Belonging to the 1942 season, the jersey represents a key moment in Red Sox history. It was initially thought that the jersey was from 1946, however, the health patch confirms its connection to 1942.
What year is this from?
1946.
1946, and we have on the back here Williams number 9, right?
Yep.
This game-worn jersey, in remarkable condition, with original numbering, hails from Williams' legendary career. Despite minor alterations, it remains one of the earliest known jerseys of the Hall of Famer.
There are no alterations in terms of this appears to be original, the number 9 in the back appears to be original.
Auction estimates for this remarkable jersey could reach as high as...
I'd put an auction estimate minimum $200,000 to $250,000.
Wow, that's great.
Given its rarity and historical significance, an insurance value for it would be set at.
If it didn't have the alterations, it would more likely be in the $400,000 to $600,000 range.
Wow.
These stunning pieces by Beatrice Wood are a testament to her unique style and prolific career as a potter. Wood, a free spirit from a wealthy family, became a prominent artist despite societal expectations. Her ceramics carry the true essence of her rebellious spirit. The volcanic glaze and texture on these ceramics date from the 1970s to the 1990s.
She was a fairly prolific potter. All three of these pieces are signed. Usually her items are signed Beato.
Her self-portraits, drawn in her 60s, give a glimpse into her creative process later in life. These works were passed down through generations of the guest's family. The larger bowl, with its vibrant colour and beautiful firing, is estimated to be worth between.
So I would put a pre-auction estimate of $3,000 to $4,000.
Wonderful.
While the smaller works on paper, such as her self-portraits, are valued at around.
A self-portrait like this, most likely in the $700 to $900 range.
Okay.
Okay?
Wow, wonderful.
This ornate throne is an exquisite blend of craftsmanship and history. Its roots can be traced back to 17th century China. The design, which was inspired by early Qing dynasty aesthetics, features cloisonne and intricate foliate carvings.
And did you know where it was made?
Well, I'm hoping it's China.
Okay.
While the feet boast the iconic ball and claw motif, carved from a single block of wood. It was crafted in the 1920s and showcases a combination of Western and Chinese elements.
This basic throne shape where you have a combination of cloisonne and wood, developed in the 17th century.
The decoration of the 8 immortals reflects a cultural narrative deeply embedded in Chinese mythology.
The feet are the ball and claw, the flaming pearl. That particular kind of motif, for the most part, you see used on furniture in the late 17th, early 18th century.
Though not an imperial piece, its craftsmanship suggests it belonged to someone of wealth and stature. The footstool, while paired with the throne, does not match its quality, indicating it was added later. Altogether, this set, at an auction, would fetch.
I would expect that this throne and the stool together would make $10,000 to $15,000.
The guest inherited this vase from her mother after she died and has no clue what the item is. For pieces like this, the decoration and shape are closely looked at, and there is a green mark at the bottom. Also, there's the painter's palette, a monogram that says CAC, that stands for Ceramic Art Company, and below it says Bellique. There were lots of companies in the United States which made things called Bellique, and this vase was made by Lenox, also known as the Ceramics Art Company Lenox, and it was started in 1889. And by the mark on the vase, it was made between 1894 and 1906, which is early. Also, the vase has bold, bright painted patterns on it, and it's likely factory painted. Hence, to a collector of early and late Lenox, this vase would probably be worth.
This vase would probably be worth between $800 and $1,200, which is quite a lot of money for this sort of thing.
It's great. Thank you.
The guest brought her late husband's timeout chair from the 1930s when he was still a boy for appraisal. It shows a history of American furniture, and at the top is a Chippendale crest rail, which is slightly over-exaggerated. The chair is a comb-back Windsor chair with a bow back and wrapped-around arms. Also, it is a wrapped-around chair that is supposed to go into a corner, but someone has fashioned it to be a comfy chair. However, this is sometimes called a saddle seat in Windsor chairs. The chair has pierced splats, which is part of the Chippendale tradition, and it is from the 18th century, 1780 to be precise. A variety was used for the base, but for the overall chair, there's maple and ash, and it's painted with a beautiful red-brown finish. Therefore, a reasonable estimate for this chair at auction would be between.
So I'm kind of thinking an estimate might be in the $1,000 to $2,000 range.
Okay,
you know,
great, yeah.
and take it from there.
Yeah, it's got a lot of personality, and we love it.
This lamp belonged to the guest's grandmother and was passed down to her, and it was made by a company which had offices in New York, Montreal, and San Francisco. The company is called Pearpoint, based in New Bedford, Massachusetts, and they did business in the late 19th and 20th centuries. They started making lamps in 1904 and made reverse-painted lamps and puffy lamps such as this one. However, the company signed for a patent on the puffy lamp on July 7, 1907, and this lamp was made circa 1920. This lamp is called a boudoir lamp, and the shape of the shade is known as Stratford puffy lamps with a floral design and blasé pattern. Also, the outside of the shade is frosted, while the inside is painted. So, there are pansies, daisies, roses, and dogwoods. Moreover, the shade is made in a mold and is mold blown, but it's not visible because it is fire polished. Although it is difficult to see, the base is marked, has a number, and also says Made in the USA. There is a bit of damage on the base, hence in a retail shop, this lamp would sell for.
If this were sold in a retail shop, it would sell for around $1,500.
Here is a grandmother's clock admired by the guest during his childhood, brought in for appraisal. The clock was made by the Seth Thomas Company, considered the Tiffany of Connecticut clockmakers, and they made high-end clocks and lower-grade or affordable clocks as well. Seth Thomas Company was formed as a corporation in 1853 to 1931, and this clock was made between 1890 to 1900, where there were no watches. There's a brass label at the bottom that says, the Cleveland Electrical Manufacturing Company makers, Cleveland, Ohio. This probably has to do with the hole on the side. It was a master clock that ran other slave clocks off of it, and it is a lobby model. Furthermore, the gallery is unusual at the top. It is a massive brass 30-day movement, meaning it runs for 30 days on one winding, which makes it double springtime only. Some damage is noticed on the dial. It is flaking because it is paint on zinc, and the second hand is not appropriate as well. This clock has a beautiful mahogany case and is original. Hence, at retail, the value would be.
A clock like this in a retail situation would sell for $1,800 to $2,200.
Wow.
The guest brought a rug onto the show, which had been gifted to him by his interior designer friend. This particular rug is referred to as a Chi-Chi rug and originated in the Caucasus region. This rug is adorned with bold geometric motifs in rich, vibrant colors. It measures roughly 3 by 3 feet, which is not unusual for a Chi-Chi rug. Furthermore, it features multiple borders, including a main border flanked by smaller intricate guard borders. Additionally, the rug is made from high-quality wool and is hand-knitted with a tight weave, making it both durable and ideal for long-term use. Remarkably, this rug remains in pristine condition despite its age. In an auction setting, this beautifully designed Caucasian rug would be highly valuable.
You're probably talking about a valuation of $1,000 to $1,500.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Today on the show, we have a wristwatch inherited by our guest from her uncle,
who led a good career. He was a contractor in California. He traveled extensively.
This timepiece was crafted by Patek Philippe and dates back to 1960.
The brand is Patek Philippe.
Yes.
So Patek Philippe is the preeminent watchmaker in Switzerland. All their watches are completely handmade.
Interestingly, it is a model 2551, first introduced in 1954. What makes this wristwatch particularly notable is that it's an automatic model.
What's interesting about the watch is it's an automatic watch, which means that if you wear it every day, it will continue to work.
It features a screwed-down back that provides water resistance, an uncommon feature in watches from that era. The rotor, made of 18-karat gold, is fully engraved, and the watch boasts step-down lugs, along with a step-down golden case. Given its remarkable features, this Patek Philippe wristwatch is valued at.
It probably today in a retail setting has a value of $18,000 to $20,000.
Great, that's wonderful. It's a sentimental piece.
A little more than you were thinking?
Yes. Oh yes.
This classic piece is a tea caddy, despite having a pear-like shape. It was given to the guest by her mentor in Houston, Texas. Made in about 1810, this piece would have been called the Regency Tea Caddy. Fruit wood was used to make tea caddies, which gave them a similar appearance. During the 18th century, tea was extremely valuable. The majority of tea caddies had locks to keep people from drinking tea without authorization. It also seems that the final design may have been changed. The wood shrinkage on the exterior is a good indication of age.
We have these splits that go through the wood, and this is caused by the wood shrinking and pulling apart over time, but that's a good indication of age.
This piece has a beautiful color, which makes it the ultimate golden pair. At an auction, this collection goes for...
Well, at auction, how does 3,000 strike you?
Wow.
This rare collection tells a story of courage, sacrifice, and resilience. The guest's father and cousin were US glider pilots. They were involved in Operation Market Garden.
He was a glider pilot, and he was involved in Operation Market Garden, which was a joint British, United States, and Polish airborne operation to capture bridges.
The bailout map shows where this operation occurred in the Arnhem and Nijmegen areas. Unfortunately, this operation was a disastrous one. This is his ID card, which would have been kept in the commandant's office at the prisoner of war camp. There's a visible letter written to the Swiss Red Cross. This collection's intriguing glider wings and intact ID tags are another amazing treasure. A picture conveys 1,000 words, as we can see in the illustration of the barracks done by a prisoner. The memorabilia is valued at...
A very popular area of collecting, I would say at a retail level, probably somewhere $4,000 to $5,000 range, especially with all the other things that we're not showing.
That's great.
You can tell that the sculptor poured their heart into the intricate detail of this masterpiece. In the annals of ceramic art history, Meissen is among the most renowned names. This Meissen porcelain figurine was made in Germany in 1874.
It's made at the Meissen porcelain factory in Germany. And Meissen is perhaps one of the best known names in the history of ceramic art. It's where porcelain making...
During World War II, it was carefully hidden away, escaping destruction. These two lovers are 18th century figures, as seen by their costumes. The crossed swords mark guarantees the piece's authenticity. Genuine Meissen pieces also display well-defined marks, seamlessly integrated into the porcelain surface. This is a timeless piece, from the delicate petals on the flowers to the beautiful pigments. This beautiful collection is valued at...
I think if it came to auction today, I would see it bringing perhaps at least $800 and maybe as much as $1,200 at auction.
This first edition of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is very special. The reason for that is because the book is signed by Roald Dahl. Dahl was a British author of popular children's literature and short stories. From childhood, this book has been one of the guest's most beloved books.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. It was my mom's book, and then I had it because I loved it as a kid. I read it several times as a kid. It really captured my imagination.
The book has a key feature of a first edition.
An inscription says, "To Stephen, with lots of love, from Roald Dahl."
Additionally, the dust jacket is still there, which is important for its value. The book was printed in 1964, with only about 10,000 copies made. Dahl's signature, the first edition points, the original jacket, and its rarity significantly increased this book's value. Now a valuable collector's item, this book is worth between...
I would appraise your book at retail for between $5,000 to $6,000.
Wow, that is crazy.
This 1928 Gibson Granada banjo is a remarkable piece of musical history. Its design and craftsmanship are intricately well done. Additionally, it is Brazilian rosewood fingerboard, which is rare and a special material. The banjo's gold plating and overall design are impressive.
The materials is maple back and sides on the resonator of the neck. It's Brazilian rosewood fingerboard, which is endangered. It requires a CITES certificate permit to ship outside of the US.
Despite a few repairs and modifications, the banjo is still quite valuable.
There is a crack in the headstock that somebody put a screw in.
This banjo serves as a piece of history from the jazz and vaudeville eras. As such, collectors of the 1920s jazz and vaudeville scene appreciate its historical significance. A big increase from its initial $3 purchase price, this banjo is now worth...
Considering that, this has a retail value around $7,000.
Wow. Wow.
This original contract with Buffalo Bill is a fascinating piece of history. Additionally, it shows that the signer was hired as an acrobat. This collection includes images and letters related to Buffalo and Pawnee Bill. It also serves as a direct link to the famous performers of the time. Having this archive means owning a piece of history. It helps in understanding the Wild West era better. This collection really is a rare treasure of American frontier entertainment, and as such, the whole archive is valued at.
What you have here and what you brought in would be worth about $2,000 to $3,000. It's really fascinating.
This exquisite vase from a distant past is now brought before us. The guest inherited this item and its matching counterpart of similar proportions but distinct design from his father, though only this one is presented.
Well, they came through my father many years ago after the Second World War. One of the Limoges factories opened a plant.
Created circa 1880, this item emerged during the zenith of the Renaissance Revival era.
These, and I'm talking about a pair of them, would have been made in 1880, and they were made at the height of the Renaissance Revival period.
This piece is classified as Majolica ware. The style is unmistakably that of Ulisse Cantagalli's esteemed company in Florence. Ulisse Cantagalli was an Italian artist, ceramist, and entrepreneur. He was the founder of the Cantagalli ceramic factory in Florence, Italy, which became renowned for producing high-quality Majolica ware, particularly in the Renaissance Revival style.
This is very typical of the work of a company in Florence run by Ulisse Cantagalli. And Cantagalli really specialized in authentically reproducing Italian Renaissance Majolica work.
Cantagalli's signature on the base verifies the piece's provenance.
Painted cockerel, and that's the symbol of Cantagalli's workshop in Florence.
This ornamental piece is classified as an urn, crafted solely for its aesthetic appeal, and its value is...
So I'm going to say a pair at least $5,000 and perhaps as much as $7,000 at auction.
Okay.
Presently exhibited is a vintage cabinet, along with a collection of vintage food storage items. While exploring her grandparents' attic, the guest stumbled upon the cabinet and its contents.
I found out that my uncle lost his apartment or home during the Depression because of the money problems, so he had to move back home.
She later learned that it had once belonged to her uncle, who, due to the Great Depression, had lost his home and had been forced to return to his parents' residence.
Now, these are some of the spices and various tins that you found wrapped in these items,
all
correct?
Wrapped up, yes.
Upon opening the cabinet, we find an array of vintage spices and tins from that era. Notably, this menu sugar tin stands out as a fantastic example of vintage advertising.
You can see here that this is menu sugar, which is a great advertising piece, but you can see that the box is a little crumpled here, and it does have the sugar in it.
In order to maintain their integrity, the products inside these items need to be emptied. The worth of these containers lies in their well-preserved state and attractive graphics. Together, the entire collection would be worth.
I would put an estimate on this of about $800 to $1,200 for the whole group, and it could go higher because of the condition.
That's great.
Great.
Oh, he'd be happy.
Yes,
He's
he
up
would.
there watching this.
Before us is a vintage inkwell from a distinguished maker. The guest received it from his grandmother following his grandfather's death.
It was passed down. My grandmother gave it to me last year after my grandfather had passed away. It sat on his desk for
Tiffany Studios is behind this inkwell's truly dramatic and eye-catching design. Tiffany Studios was a legendary decorative arts company renowned for its exquisite pieces, including lamps, glasswork, and metalwork.
It's actually stamped on the bottom, Tiffany Studios, New York. And as you know, they were a very famous maker of bronze and metalwork and Tiffany lamps, Tiffany glass. They were founded in New York City.
Founded by Louis Comfort Tiffany in 1878, it was a leading force in the Art Nouveau movement. The inkwell likely dates back to the early 20th century, between 1900 and 1910. This piece is distinguished by its extraordinary blown-out glasswork.
You have this lattice work that's cut out, and they actually blow the glass through this, so the glass protrudes.
Despite minor condition issues, including tiny paint splatters likely from a past wall repaint, this piece remains an excellent example, valued at.
In a retail setting, at a gallery or a shop specializing in Tiffany works, this would be about $5,000.
Really? Wow.
Today's highlight is a fascinating collection of Native American tribal jewelry. A University of California professor who was adopted into a Native American tribe and served on their council collected these pieces, now inherited by the guest.
I don't know if the Indians gave him the necklaces or if he bought them, but they did come from the Indians.
These pieces showcase the exceptional craftsmanship of the Navajo tribe. The Navajo tribe, also known as the Diné, is the largest Native American reservation in the United States, covering over 27,000 square miles in Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. This collection boasts squash blossom necklaces from the 1890 to 1900 period. Nahas are the decorative elements hanging from the bottom of these necklaces.
One of the things I particularly like about these necklaces is every single aspect of them are handmade. They were made with a cold chisel and a file.
Bracelets of equal beauty from the same time period complement the necklaces in this collection.
This is very heavy silver, ingot silver, hand pounded with a hammer and a chisel, set with turquoise.
These extraordinary necklaces demonstrate the exceptional skill of Navajo artisans and would command a value of.
The squash blossom necklace nearest you in the neighborhood of $5,000 to $6,000.
The exquisite design and craftsmanship of the bracelets would position their value at.
These bracelets on a retail market value about $2,000 to $3,000 a piece. Oh. They are simply as good as it gets.
An outstanding example of Native American tribal arts craftsmanship is presented here. It came from the estate of the guest's mother-in-law, a collector of Native American artifacts.
Her mother also collected stuff, so I'm not sure if it was her mother that got it or if she got it.
This is a traditional southern Kayan pipe bag used to store and transport a man's pipe. Small, intricate beads beautifully adorn this piece. The yellow coloration on the pipe bag is probably achieved with buffalo gall dye.
If you look here, you see all this yellow powder. That's probably buffalo gall.
The fringe also features the same buffalo gall dye. This piece is from the late 19th century, specifically the 1870s.
The piece probably dates to the 1870s, which was sort of the end of the Indian Wars in Oklahoma.
It's remarkably well preserved, with an estimated value of.
I would think this would probably easily bring $8,000 to $10,000 at an auction.
Not bad.
Featured here is a collection of sports memorabilia, paying tribute to the enduring legacy of figure skating legend Nancy Kerrigan. Nancy Kerrigan is a former American figure skater who rose to fame in the 1990s. She is a two-time Olympic medalist. Leading off this remarkable collection is the costume Nancy Kerrigan wore during her Halloween on Ice performance.
Before the music started creepy and that creak of sound of the coffin opening up, and then I came out and did a whole production number. It was so much fun.
While it has slightly degraded over the years, its value would be.
If I were to estimate this in an auction, I'd probably put an estimate of maybe $500 to $700 on it. And if I were to insure it, I'd insure it for about $1,000.
Also featured in this collection is the magnificent and iconic white gown.
I never got that triple Lutz in the competition wearing it, so that was a little frustrating, but it got so much attention. It was on the cover of Life magazine at the year end.
As one of the most iconic figure skating costumes, its value would be truly remarkable, estimated at.
In the $20,000 to $30,000 range.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And if I were to insure it, I wouldn't insure it for anything less than $50,000.
The following item is a remarkable bronze medal awarded to Nancy Kerrigan at the 1992 Winter Olympics in Albertville, France, estimated to be worth.
I would estimate that at auction $30,000 to $40,000.
Wow.
I would insure it for $50,000.
The final item in this collection is this impressive silver medal awarded to Nancy Kerrigan at the 1994 Olympics, a significant piece of sporting history. Worth.
I would estimate it at $50,000 to $70,000, and I would insure it for at least $80,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
It means something to me because I felt people behind me, people rooting for me from locally and my own team getting me there and helping me through a tough situation.
The chair exhibited today was inherited by the guest from her aunt, who lived in Worcester. This is a George Nelson pretzel chair, a rare design from the 20th century. George Nelson was an American industrial designer, and he was a lead designer for the Herman Miller Furniture Company. It was designed in 1958, and there are very few of them in existence.
I've been collecting and selling and buying modern furniture since the 80s, and this is probably the 6th or 7th one I've ever seen.
The arms are articulated so far that the chair becomes very fragile, making it a difficult piece to repair. The most interesting thing is that the chair was made by the Herman Miller Company, which surely speaks of the exceptional quality and importance of the chair. However, Nelson didn't design the chair himself, as the company employed a large design team. Due to its rarity and craftsmanship that went into the creation of this chair, it would be valued at.
This chair today at auction would probably bring $4,000 to $6,000.
Not bad at all. Well, thank you. That's like fabulous. I just feel justified. People have always said, "Oh, that's a great chair," and now I can say, "Yeah, it really is a great chair."
It really is a great chair.
Thank you.
It really is. Thank you very
so much.
Every element of a successful fantasy must feel very real. Vintage Joseph of Hollywood made every costume jewelry out of glass and base metals that looked like glamorous antiques. Joseph was born in Chicago and was quite an industrious young man. He crafted jewelry with his own hands and sketched designs. However, he never sold these pieces to the movies. He only rented them out, building a stockpile that could be used repeatedly. One of his pieces was worn by Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind.
And in this scene, she's with Rhett Butler, and she's just gobbling this food down, and Rhett is sitting beside her, amused, and he does say to her, "You know, there is more food in the kitchen."
Additionally, a pair of earrings was also worn by the movie star Grace Kelly in High Society in 1956. The earrings are gold tone over brass with foul pearls.
He created a pair of similar design for the retail market, and they are also faux pearls with gold over brass.
In terms of costume jewelry value, the piece worn by Scarlett O'Hara would command a significant figure of.
One of the classic movies of all time, I would imagine the value goes up a bit.
A bit. I'd say at a good, well-advertised auction, it would probably go $100,000 to $150,000.
While the earrings, worn by Grace Kelly, would be valued at.
Good estimate would probably be about $7,500.
Well, it's great to hear the story of Eugene Joseph and stand here amongst all this very historic jewelry, and great to talk to you about it.
Thank you so much.
Unveiled on the show today is a pottery store gnome. The guest's grandparents owned a shoe store in Pennsylvania.
My father eventually took over the shoe store, and he operated until about 1979. And then he retired, closed the store, and at that time I was asked to pick out my 4 favorite ones.
The gnome was made in Germany. Several companies in Germany produce these pottery gnomes. They are very realistic and well modeled, following the German tradition of doll making. The gnome's face in particular features characteristics commonly found in German dolls. These gnomes were specifically designed to be used as store displays. However, when they are of this quality, age and condition, their retail price would be estimated at.
It would sell for at least $1,500 and maybe as much as $2,000.
Inheritances don't always come better than this. The Rolex Daytona Cosmograph was given to the guest by his father. The watch is a rare 1978 Rolex Daytona model.
I looked at the serial numbers, and this watch was manufactured in 1978.
6263 with a panda dial. Additionally, it has unique red lettering on the dial, known as the small red.
Well, the red on some of them is called the big red, and it's a wider, fatter, bigger font. This is a smaller red.
There is also the manual wind mechanism, screw-down buttons, and waterproof features. These features don't just make it fashionable, but also a highly functional watch for sports enthusiasts. Despite some minor wear, the watch is still in excellent condition.
Your crystal that covers the watch, that's plastic acrylic. It's got a little bit of scratching.
In today's market, this watch is incredibly valuable and is estimated to be worth between
$95,000 to $105,000.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
This guest brought in a lovely vase from her father's estate. The vase was made by the famous Rookwood Pottery in Cincinnati. Arthur Conton, a talented Rookwood artist who loved Japanese woodblock prints, created this vase.
And Arthur Conant joined Rookwood in, I believe, 1915, and he was there for about 25 years.
It features a beautiful prunus tree and a bluebird, with waves crashing below. Another thing that the guest hadn't noticed before is the vase's background's unique texture.
When you put it under your light was the first time I really noticed that and fell in love with the vase again.
This texture and the vase's intricate detail might have been influenced by the artist's experiences with woodblock printing. Additionally, the vase is still in top-notch condition for a piece from 1921. At auction, due to its artistic significance and rarity, this vase would be worth between
Of $4,000 to $6,000.
Oh my golly, we didn't believe that. That is awesome. Thank you.
This beautiful vase was made by Rookwood Pottery. It was given to the guest's grandmother in 1885 as a wedding gift, but actually the vase itself was made in 1882.
This is an early Rookwood mark, and it does say 1882, and 1882 is indeed the date for this.
This makes it one of the earliest Rookwood items. The vase was decorated by Albert Valentine, one of the key artists at Rookwood during the American art pottery movement.
And there's also the mark of the artist, who is Albert Valentine or Valencian.
It features a unique Barbotine style with a night scene painted in shades of grey, known as grisaille. Still in excellent condition, the vase's shape is inspired by traditional Asian pottery designs, and its artistic quality makes it highly collectible.
Perfectly flat and round, and that is an Asian shape.
At auction, due to its craftsmanship and historical importance, this vase would be worth between
Somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500.
I really think it might belong in the Cincinnati Museum of Art.
Today, we're joined by Nancy, who shares her captivating story of tracing the origins of an old chair that was nearly discarded by her family. Nancy and her sister took the chair to the Antiques Roadshow, hoping to discover its hidden story. The chair was passed down to the guest's mother from her grandmother's estate after she passed away.
And Mom came down from the attic with this chair. Nobody wanted it, so she just brought it home.
Nancy's grandfather was from Buffalo, leading her to suspect he may have had a relationship with Charles Rolfs, the chair's maker.
I mean, I have no way of knowing. They were married in 1910. They were older grandparents, and we thought it might be that it was a wedding present or something like that.
Charles Rolfs was an American furniture maker, craftsman and artist. He is considered one of the most important figures in the American arts and crafts movement. The use of mahogany in Nancy's chair makes it especially noteworthy.
Special thing, mahogany was rare, it was expensive, and to be honest, it's incredibly unusual to find Charles Rolfe furniture of that quality.
Whenever they moved, Nancy's father would suggest getting rid of the old chair, questioning its necessity.
Get rid of that old chair. Why do you need it? Just throw it out. Mom said, oh, I love it, I love it.
She turned the chair over, inspecting it for any labels or markings that might identify its creator.
There was the artist's little insignia on the back, and so decided to see if we could take it into Antiques Roadshow, and that's what we did. My sister and I went, and it was really fun.
She found it by the garbage down the street. This 1870 Jocelyn's Table Globe showcases 19th century craftsmanship. Created by Jocelyn & Sons, this globe reflects Victorian-era astronomy advances. These globes served both as educational tools and decorative symbols of knowledge. Beneath the surface lies a cosmic secret.
The base is cast iron underneath, which is just painted gold. Along the rim, on the ring, you have the signs of the zodiac, and then also you have the calendar as well.
With a brass ring and a wooden base, this globe shows detailed constellations. Tinted illustrations depict mythological figures and Northern Hemisphere constellations. Its celestial charm and Victorian detail impress the appraiser.
You have a $2,000 globe you found in the garbage.
Yay! That's fabulous. Thank you, Sebastian.
We have before us a bird-like golden figure, which evokes such an aesthetically pleasing appeal. It's not just a figure, but a compact powder with a very unique and deceptive view. The guest received this item from her mother-in-law as a gift.
Thing that someone in the family enjoyed, she went ahead and bought it for them.
The compact was designed in Spain in 1950 by an artist called Salvador Dali. Dali was a Spanish surrealist artist renowned for his technical skill, precise craftsmanship, and the striking and bizarre images in his work.
Not always just an artist, he was a designer. He designed for Elsa Schiaparelli.
The compact, which was manufactured by the Elgin American Company, features a striking dreamlike image that is characteristic of Dali's work.
Made by the Elgin American Company.
Closely looking at the compact, we can see that it's intricately designed from crafted bronze, a durable and luxurious metal. The piece is stamped with Salvador Dali's signature, authenticating its origin and increasing its desirability among collectors. Considering its age, this piece is still in remarkable condition. At pristine state, this work by one of the most influential artists of the 20th century, coupled with its artistic significance, would retail at
Who bring around $3,000
Okay.
to $4,000.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's sweet. Didn't expect that.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
This is a paper written by J.R.R. Tolkien when he was teaching at Oxford. John Ronald Reuel Tolkien was an English writer and philologist. He was the author of the high fantasy works The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
He was just kind of having hard times financially, like anybody else. He's a professor, he's working hard, and he's writing all the time his own works.
The paper is dated 1957, and the distinctive handwriting clearly indicates it was written by Tolkien. He also signed at the bottom right with his elegant signature. Additionally, he referenced works like The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, and Farmer Giles of Ham. The letter was addressed to Mr. Reddy, who was the director of libraries at Marquette University in Milwaukee.
With the mission of building up a memorial library that was just been built, and he was going to fill it with archives, he contacted a book dealer in London called Bertram Rota, mentioned in this letter.
This letter is particularly important because of its 1957 date, during a time when Tolkien hadn't yet sent manuscripts, so it reflects a period of negotiation. Given the mention of these iconic works and the enduring interest in Tolkien, this piece would be valued at auction around
At auction, at $8,000 to $12,000, and I would think insurance-wise you'd be looking at more like $15,000 as an insurance.
It's from her great-grandmother and passed to her grandma and to her. This 1915 diamond horseshoe pin is a standout Edwardian piece. The pin's diamonds, arranged in a horseshoe, highlight early 20th century craftsmanship.
We have 37 round old mine diamonds in it.
Okay.
Right? When you add them all up, there's approximately 6 carats total weight of diamonds in it.
Edwardian jewelry's delicate style used platinum and diamonds for a light, airy look. The diamonds are likely set in platinum or white gold to enhance their brilliance. The horseshoe pin was likely worn as a brooch or statement accessory. This pin can also be a necklace, as there's a little hole that you can put lace through. Its timeless elegance impressed the appraiser.
Today at auction, a pin like this would be $5,000 to $7,000 at auction.
That much?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I had no idea.
A remarkable American Girl Barbie from 1965, crafted by Mattel, was recently appraised. This iconic platinum blonde Barbie with a bob haircut and blue eyeshadow reflects 1960s fashion trends. She marked a shift away from the original Barbie's long hair and sharp V-shaped eyebrows. Recalling her childhood, the guest recently revisited memories of playing with her Barbie after 50 years.
I had 3 other girlfriends, and we used to get together like every day after school and play with our Barbies.
Still dressed in her original bathing suit, the doll came with a collection of vintage outfits, all tagged with the Barbie label. She also has a stylish trunk filled with accessories, including a chic pillbox hat. Along with the doll, the guest kept the original Barbie stand, once sold for under $5. This cherished doll, with its clothes and accessories, is now valued at an impressive
would retail between $600 and $850.
Great, but I'll never give her up.
A rare Rolex Moonphase watch, inherited from the guest's grandfather, was recently appraised.
I haven't seen a Rolex Moonphase in the 10 years I've been filming Antiques Roadshow walk-in, so it's nice that you brought one in.
His grandfather wore this intriguing Moonphase watch throughout his childhood. This particular model, crafted by Rolex between 1950 and 1953, features a stainless steel case and a self-winding mechanism. It also displays the phases of the moon, days and dates. Notably, only 1,000 watches were made, making it an exceptionally rare piece. The watch retains considerable worth, despite the refinished dial, which does lower its value. A well-preserved serial number, the sharp case, and the clear Rolex coronet insignia further enhance its significance. To the guests' astonishment, the appraiser revealed the watch's auction value to be between
This watch, I think easily today at auction, would be $35,000 to $45,000 in the condition it's in.
That's a big surprise.
A rare bottle of cognac gifted to the guest's father-in-law in 1959 has stayed in the family for decades. Given to the guest's husband in 2000 and long stored, the cognac was recently rediscovered by their son-in-law.
And he said, "Hey, what's in this green box?" And I said, "I'm not sure. I don't remember."
This bottle contains Remy Martin Cognac Grande Champagne, a vintage cognac. It was served at the royal banquet in Versailles in 1938 for King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. Beyond the cognac, the bottle is likely Baccarat creation, adorned with elegant fleur-de-lis patterns. Though it isn't signed by Baccarat, this isn't uncommon for such pieces. Adding to its allure, the bottle still contains its original contents, which enhance its rarity and value. It was noted that unopened bottles like this are rare, and with the original stopper, it is valued at around.
I would certainly say you should insure it for at least $8,000.
Just can't believe that.
A vibrant 1950s Fiesta dress gifted to the guest's aunt by designer Elita Wilson of Santa Fe Designs holds a rich history. Known for her ability to sell clothing, the aunt received this stunning piece as both a gift and a form of advertising.
And she was
gorgeous
tall
and thin.
and
It's in unbelievable condition. It looks like it was never worn.
This Fiesta dress was traditionally worn during annual Spanish heritage celebrations in Santa Fe, showcasing 83 rows of meticulously sewn rickracs on the bolero and blouse. This dress is remarkable for its craftsmanship. The skirt's movement, especially under the lights during dancing, would have been breathtaking. Though it appears unworn, the guest confirmed her aunt did wear it to a grand 4th of July party. Maintaining the outfit's stunning cohesion, the wide elasticized waistband matches the fabric in the blouse and skirt. In excellent condition, this festive and unique dress is valued at
I would place a retail value on this piece between $600 and $800.
nice, really
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
A unique folk art piece was brought in for appraisal, originally found in an antique store in Dodge City, Kansas. With a talent for finding treasures, the guest's mother discovered the piece during a renovation of their ranch in southern Colorado. Once a bunkhouse for cowboys, the cabin made this particular piece an ideal addition to the renovation. This piece was inspired by the 1938 romantic comedy film, The Cowboy and the Lady, starring Gary Cooper and Merle Oberon. A high society woman, escaping her father's political world, disguises herself as a maid and falls for a cowboy. Crafted entirely from plywood, the piece was meticulously cut on a table saw, likely in someone's basement. The faded blue of the cowboy's jeans, where the varnish had worn off, stood out against his striking red cowboy boots. Although the guest's mother likely paid no more than $150 for it, the appraiser valued it at around.
You could put an insurance value on this of about $1,800, $1,800.
My goodness, yeah. Oh my goodness.
I mean,
that's crazy.
In the early 1930s, a striking artwork caught the eye of a successful businesswoman who had traveled to New York. He bought the piece at Grand Central Art Gallery, where it stayed in the family for 100 years before being passed to the guest in 1968. Created by Hovsep Pushman, the artwork showcases his fascination with Asian art and mysticism. Pushman, originally from Armenia, studied in Istanbul before traveling globally and eventually settling in the United States. Pushman's work blends symbolic rebirth with spiritual imagery, featuring an Asian figure, a blossoming rose, and a fading rose. This painting comes with a personal letter from Pushman detailing the spiritual essence behind the work. Pushman describes the painting as an imaginative scene with a goddess of beauty and buds symbolizing spring's hopes.
Expresses a mysterious beauty of a fading rose. This represents my past joys, which I imagine is written.
A more accurate auction estimate for this exquisite painting would be around.
I think it should be insured at somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000.
Okay. Thank you very much.
A fascinating book from the Roycroft Press, printed in 1899, was brought in for appraisal. This edition of Shakespeare's sonnets is just one of 12 copies bound in vellum, with the others on special paper. Founded by Elbert Hubbard, the Roycroft Press was an influential American publisher inspired by the Kelmscott Press. A testament to its luxurious craftsmanship, the book boasts exquisite Morocco leather inlay. On the edge, the imprint of the Roycroft bindery proudly marks its origin and uniqueness. This book was kept by the guest's grandfather, a Brooklyn rare book dealer. Through the Depression, it was passed down through the family, and the guest inherited it from their father.
And the edition of 980 of the same book could have a value of about $300 to $400, but this is a much more rare.
Given its exceptional rarity and significance, it is recommended to insure it for.
Say that you'd probably want to have it insured for $10,000 because it is so rare.
Wow.
As I said, it's only one of 12, and it's probably the finest.
A stunning tea set, inherited from the guest's mother, who passed away in 2006, was presented for appraisal. Bought by the guest's father in the early 60s, the set initially upset the guest's mother, but later became cherished. Comprised of a teapot and a coffee pot, the set is marked with Japanese stamps indicating sterling silver and the maker, Konaik. Crafted during Japan's Meiji period, the pieces are attributed to around 1900 and are adorned with elaborate dragon motifs, featuring whiskers that curl into the dragon's tails and claws that hold shell-shaped knobs. The craftsmanship is exceptional.
The foot even is the claw that is holding this little shell that's the knob.
Adding to their ornate appeal is the hammered design on the body. Originally purchased for $300 to $700, the rare tea set is now worth significantly more. A recommended insurance value for the two pieces presented today is approximately.
I would insure them together for $30,000.
Okay. Wow.
A remarkable collection of celebrity autographs, all uniquely captured on boarding passes, was showcased. A TWA flight attendant, the guest began collecting autographs from celebrities in the 1970s. Among the highlights are signatures from Elizabeth Taylor, obtained during a poignant flight to a funeral.
I actually asked the other flight attendants to let me work first class so I could serve her, and they said fine.
Another notable autograph is from Lauren Bacall, who signed her boarding pass after a memorable shuttle launch. Johnny Cash also signed his boarding pass while traveling to perform at a prison show, accompanied by June Carter. Acquired between 1976 and 1982, this collection grew from the guests' personal interactions with these celebrities. A collection of 115 to 120 autographed boarding passes is a unique piece of aviation and entertainment history. Prized for its originality and personal stories, the entire collection is estimated to fetch between.
At auction, we would expect an estimate of probably between $5,000 to $7,000 for the collection. And then, who knows? I mean, it might strike someone's fancy and go much more than that.
A striking print by renowned New York artist Helen Frankenthaler has just been evaluated. Crafted during a significant period in Frankenthaler's career, the print carries a personal touch. It features a signature that reads, "Welcome to Jessica," commemorating the day of the guest's birth. Once seen as unattractive, the print has now become a cherished piece.
I actually don't know. I always kind of thought it was ugly, but now the more and more I look at it, I kind of like it.
As the guest develops a deeper appreciation for its artistic value, its allure has significantly grown. With its remarkable provenance and significant value, the print is set to take center stage. No longer relegated to a closet, it's ready to be proudly showcased. This print, by Helen Frankenthaler, has been valued at an impressive.
Found out it was worth $15,000.
Wow, did you have any idea it was worth that much?
I had no idea.
This guest purchased the showcase book at an auction in the town of Waverly during the 1990s.
Intrigued me because of the age of it. I believe it's in the 1830s. I just like old things.
The book is a bound collection of the first 3 volumes of Times and Seasons. These volumes began production in Commerce, Illinois. Moreover, the book is one of the earliest and most important periodicals of the fledgling LDS Church. These editions document the growing tension between the saints and the surrounding communities, as well as significant doctrinal documents, such as the practice of baptism for the dead. It dates back to 1839 to 1841 and is in excellent condition. A book like this is incredibly rare, especially in such good condition.
In all my years in handling rare LDS books, this may well be the best condition set of these I've ever seen.
Due to its rarity and superb physical state, the piece would easily be worth.
Would fetch $50,000.
$50,000?
$50,000.
50,000. Well, that's more than $1.50 was paid for it. My goodness.
On the show today, we have a drawing by Richard Cosway, an 18th century British artist. The subject is his wife, Maria Cosway. Richard Cosway is regarded as one of England's greatest portrait miniaturists.
If it's Cosway and it's his wife, it's a very important sort of thing. But I might throw you a little curve here. We see here this R. Cosway. It's not in the red chalk.
This 18th century woman is depicted without her wig, with her natural hair cascading down. There's a beautiful technique he used with the red chalk, particularly in the eyes and the subtle highlights on the nose with white chalk. Additionally, the drawing has a luscious, almost succulent quality to it. The name Cosway is highlighted, though it's not in red chalk. It's likely added later, and the question remains whether it's an inscription or an authentic signature.
Of old master drawings. And in those days, when you collected drawings, you either had a stamp or sometimes you would put your names on things. You know, Joshua Reynolds had a stamp.
However, it is uncertain if this is truly a Cosway piece. If it were to go at auction, the estimated value would be.
So I would think you estimate this at auction for about $10,000 to $20,000.
Really? Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me because that was the person I inherited from it. It was a very important thing to her, and I was so thrilled to get it from their family.
Harry Batoya, an acclaimed artist and designer, designed these two books.
He was born in 1915. He came here to the United States when he was 15 years old and came to Detroit. He enrolled in school in Detroit, and that's where he first started to learn metal smithing.
They were gifted to the guest and her sisters by Batoya during his early career at Cranbrook Academy. The brooches are an early example of Batoya's work from the late 1930s.
And so these pieces are very early. He only made jewelry for a few years before going into other areas.
Reflecting Batoya's aesthetic and skill in modernist jewelry design, the brooches feature no soldering. Instead, they feature rivets, pins, and tension-fitting techniques. Also showcased on the brooches are motifs like forged wire and spiral designs. These elements would later appear in Batoya's renowned furniture and sculptures. The brooches are unsigned, which might douse their value a little. However, the guest is advised to document her family's history and provenance to ensure the piece is recognized, as such unsigned pieces could easily be overlooked at auction.
If these just showed up in a box of jewelry at a yard sale, most people wouldn't know what they were.
At auction, the total value of the two pieces could reach an impressive
$40,000 to $60,000 as an auction estimate. And now that you said there's a third one out there, I would probably say it's around the same value as well.
Oh my God.
It's how rare these are
Well,
and how collectible.
hallelujah. It was worth the trip. It was so nice meeting you, Peter.
The guest brought in a large ornate birdcage and aquarium combination. It was built by his father's maternal grandfather, an ironworker from New York in the late 19th century. The piece is a scratch-built creation.
Scratch-built meaning one of one by a mechanical artist in the 19th century.
It features a clock tower and two bird cages flanking the sides.
Birdcage, and these are really quite unique too in the sense that you can see how you feed the birds through here.
Beneath the bird cages is a water-sealed aquarium, which was originally powered by a steam engine to aerate the water. There's also an elevator within the structure, modeled after a commercial building from the same period. Another feature the guest wasn't aware of is a gasolier, a gas-powered chandelier that provided lighting for both the birdcage and the aquarium.
This is a gasolier.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
That is lighting.
Considering the intricate design and complex machinery that went into the production of this unique mechanical birdcage and aquarium, they would fetch.
With an auction estimate of $3,000 to $5,000.